Ladies, gentlemen, gender nonconformists of all types, welcome to my annual game ranking video thing. Basically, the whole premise of this video is me just talking about all the games I played throughout the year and just ranking them. Kinda chill, I don't have a script, I've just got a bunch of notes for all the games I played. I played quite a few last year, but this year's kind of been like really shit, so I didn't get a chance to play a whole lot. But I got some good ones to talk about here, so I guess we'll get into the ranking and talking about them. So this is everything I got. It's not a whole lot, but there's some good ones here that I'm excited to talk about. So yeah, I guess we'll just get stuck into it. So the first game here is, you can't really see the title, but this is Child of Light. I started playing it like at the very start of the year on my Vita, and it's basically like a 2D platformer RPG sort of thing with a cool art style. I didn't finish it. I played it for like maybe an hour or so, and I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it. The platforming was fun at first, but then like it gave you like a flying ability, which like you just flew everywhere, so you didn't even need to do any platforming, which is kind of weird. And also the turn-based combat was kind of really slow. I might get back to this one at some point. I just wasn't really feeling it at the time. Okay, so next up is The Darkness 2. So let me just pull up my notes. So in case you didn't know, I have a Patreon, and at the start of the year, I was doing a thing for my $10 patrons where I would make a short 5 to 10 minute video for all the new games I played. I did that for 4 of the games in this list. I kind of stopped doing it because it was just too much and things got kind of hectic towards the end of the year. And I'm not going to do it anymore for reasons I might get into later. Basically, if you want to see full videos I made for The Darkness 2, Devil May Cry 2, The Witness, and El Shaddai, it's on my Patreon for anyone, like, even at just $1, you can have access to them. I'm not restricting them anymore, but yeah, so basically The Darkness 2. So, to clarify, last year I played, so there's a couple sequels in this list. So last year I played through The Darkness, the first game, and the first Devil May Cry. So a lot of what I'm saying about these two games is in relation to their first game. So basically, my thoughts on the first Darkness, I think I gave it a B or a C last year. And basically my whole thing with that was the world and the characters and the story was top-notch stuff. I really loved how immersive it was. But the gunplay was like really, really clunky and slow and not a whole lot of fun. That was my biggest thing. Like, I really, really loved the game, but like, damn, it was a bit of a slog to play through because it just felt really unpolished. Not really unpolished, but like the performance of the game was really crap and it just felt really clunky. And it was only available on console. You couldn't get a PC version. So yeah, it wasn't the best. So with the second game, I'm glad to say the gunplay is no longer clunky and slow. Everything runs smoothly. The Darkness is no longer a passive ability that you can put away, and light plays a much bigger role. In the first game, being in the light was a bother at most, but here, it distorts your vision and you can't use the darkness. Instead of clunky kinda crappy abilities like in the first game, the darkness is much better to use here, and not as situational. You can attack enemies with it with just a push of a button. You can now perform quote-unquote glory kill-like attacks on enemies that once stunned that refill your ammo or health or abilities. The gameplay as a whole is more mechanically rich and faster paced. You'll be picking up guns, eating hearts for health, throwing objects at enemies, all in a gunfight, all while just firing the gun. It's like all simultaneous. But for how fast paced and diverse the gunplay is, Jackie's movement is slow as hell. Maybe it's just because I don't play a ton of shooters outside of Doom, but he moves so slow in this game. You can click the analog stick to sprint, but you can't shoot while doing this. This would be fine in a more cover-focused shooter like COD, but this game often drops you in open arenas to fight in, so it didn't really mesh very well. The enemy design is much more interesting. There's some enemies with shields that you have to steal from them. There's enemies that will steal your weapons. There's enemies that have lights that will blind you and make battles much harder and much more interesting. This game is much more linear than the first one. Instead of a pseudo sandbox-like city to roam around and do missions in, this game is just level by level progression. You can explore your mansion between a few missions, but there isn't much to do there. The graphics try to replicate a comic book style this time around with cel-shaded graphics. The previous game tried to be realistic and gritty looking, as much as it could have been for 2007. I kinda wish this game came out a few years later on PS4 and tried to be realistic like the first game. This game does look good, but I prefer the more grounded approach to this world. The story is really awesome. There were so many moments of confusion that pushed me to keep on playing. There were moments in the story where I felt like genuinely angry, like Jackie would have been feeling at that time. The pacing and overall story beats it hit are terrific. The game tries to immerse you into Jackie a lot more this time around as well. Very rarely does the perspective take you out of Jackie's eyes. The first game was much more character focused, it was about Jackie's revenge. This time is a lot more grand. I suppose it's also a lot more about Jackie's inner struggle with the darkness, but the whole Brotherhood and Angelus threats make the plot a lot bigger, which I don't have a problem with, but it feels like this game is trying to capture the feel of the comics a lot more than the first game was, and I kind of just prefer the tone overall of the first game. Jackie's voice isn't the same as the first game, which is super disappointing, but his replacement does a good job as well. The ending was super cool, the final level was awesome, and fuck me, I need a third game. Overall, great fucking game. So, The Darkness 2, probably like a high A, I'd say. I don't know what's stopping me from putting an S. I think S is kind of like a more like top of the line sort of game. It's kind of a more special thing. Something I'd put into like my top 10. I don't really see The Darkness 2 being there. Like in retrospect, I think I like the first game more, but this game does a lot more right, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't have as many flaws as the first game. But yeah, moving on. Also, sorry if I get like really rambly during this. So this is just all off the cuff, just me just talking. Okay, so this is Devil May Cry 2. I don't have any like super in-depth notes. I thought it'd be much funnier to just read out my notes as I took them during my playthrough. So as I was playing the game, I was taking notes, just my thoughts at the time, and then just like kept taking notes. And it's like reading them back, it's kind of funny how much my opinion on this flips. So at first, I was kind of enjoying it quite a bit. But as I'll say, so I'll just read them out. I should probably also point out that with the first game, I think I ranked it a high B, I think. I did enjoy the first game quite a bit. It was really hard and the combat was like really satisfying to get to grips with. And yeah, I did really like the first game, so let's just read through this. Dante is all super serious and minimal talking kind of guy now. Combat is still super fun, though I think it's a bit different to the first game. Timing my presses doesn't seem to matter, now it's just about which way I push the stick. Awesome to actually have places to go now instead of just a castle. The lock-on system works well, though it can be a bit annoying when an enemy is right next to me and it's locked onto someone on the other side of the room. Infested tanks and choppers are fucking dumb and not fun at all. These small enemies are easy as piss, they don't do anything. The AI in general isn't very threatening. Would it be nice if the game gave some info about how to use the Devil Trigger powers, or just how to play in general? There's no tutorials at all. The bosses are so weak and they suck to fight. Dante is so boring, he's so bland and monotone. The story so far is whatever. I feel like nothing has even happened and I'm just being brought along for the ride. Music is great. I hate having to pause every time I want to switch weapons or abilities. Was a problem in the first game too. Skeleton Sword Dude was a cool boss, but he was pretty hard with the wolves. This game has the dumbest puzzles. This game is obsessed with aerial enemies I can only shoot at. Would have been nice to know about the only aerial attack earlier, not right at the end of the game. Respawning enemies isn't fun. Final boss was dog shit. The Devil Trigger system is actually so fun. I was able to cheese almost anything in this game with just rocket launchers or shotgun or whatever. The voice acting is terrible all around. And then my final notes for Dante's playthrough. This game seems like it's trying to be way quote-unquote cooler than the last one. The combat is really well done. It's a shame it never really tests you. All the standard enemies are piss easy and don't pose much of a challenge, and the bosses are either stupid easy or just stupid. And then I got my notes for my Lucia playthrough. Kind of impressive they actually made a new level for Lucia. Let's see if they keep it up. Next note immediately after. Didn't last long. Seems like it's harder than Dante's campaign by having quote-unquote harder enemies earlier. Would have been nice to know you could switch guns with L2. Holy shit, new enemies as well. And then in brackets, maybe only a couple. I'm glad that this second campaign isn't taking nearly as long. That's not a good thing though. So much of this game is just holding down square and relying on the auto aim. No shitty game is complete without shitty underwater levels. At least it's not in first person this time. But it has a fucking boss fight. Why the fuck does Dante give the bad dude what he needs? We spend half the game getting the items for him. What the fuck is this story? Lucia plays fine. She's pretty much exactly the same as Dante, though Dante's moves are easier to distinguish. They really didn't think through the multiple characters thing when it comes to the story and who actually kills the bosses, did they? The enemy and boss design are actually pretty sick. What even is this game? So, forgive me if that was really, really incoherent, but that's Devil May Cry 2 for you. It's seriously one of the worst games I've ever played. Like, it functions, and it exists. That's that's pretty much it. Yeah. Devil May Cry 3 better be good. Okay, the next game is The Witness. So the only reason I really played this is because Sony gave away a bunch of games for free last year because of the whole like thing happening over the world. And The Witness was one of them, as well as another game in this list. So yeah, the Witness is like a first-person puzzle game. So yeah, let's just get to my notes. Absolutely beautiful game, terrific art style, love the simplicity, it never tells you how to do anything, just gives you the tools to figure it out. Though this can lead to some frustration, some puzzle types I still don't understand. Tetris puzzles especially. This island is so fucking amazing. It's so much fun just wandering around and exploring, finding new luscious environments. Sound design is excellent. There's no music, just ambience, and it works really well. The whole world has such a mysterious vibe, which is really helped by all the voice clips you can find quoting religious passages or philosophers. Really intriguing stuff. The puzzles started out really fun. They made you figure it out, but they were doable. The later puzzles are just bonkers. For a lot of the later puzzles, I had to rely on a guide to help me. Getting stuck on each puzzle for upwards of 10 minutes wasn't very fun, so I think it's justified. I gave them my best shot, but those fucking Tetris ones are so hard. For pretty much the entire ending, the town, and final area, I relied on a guide. The puzzles were so hard, and I wasn't really having fun trying to solve them anymore. The whole game is so mysteriously creepy, and I love it. Like, what the fuck even happened here, and what is this all about? Overall, super awesome game. I'm not really into puzzle games, which is probably why I struggled quite a lot towards the end, but I am glad I played it. It was a lot of fun just walking around this beautiful, beautiful game. So yeah, The Witness is kind of weird. It's like, it was fun at first. It was really fun trying to work everything out, but by the end of it, I was just struggling so much that I just wasn't having any fun. But just being in this world, it was just incredible. But overall, my feelings towards it, I'd probably give it a C, maybe a high C. I think it's a really well done game, but personally, I didn't enjoy it a whole lot. Okay, next is The Last Guardian. Now, this comes from the same people who made Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, so it's kind of like a really big, epic, cinematic sort of game. The only game I've played from them is Ico. I haven't actually played Shadow of the Colossus. I played Ico quite a few years ago now, and for most of it, I was really frustrated, but by the end of it, I ended up like really loving it. And this game is actually really similar to Ico in a story sense and a sort of setting sense. It's very, very similar. So yeah, let's just get into the notes. The game world is excellent. Exploring the ruins of this mysterious place is great, especially when you're trying to piece together what this place actually is. Controlling the boy is a bit frustrating at times. He and the camera are very heavy to control, which is fine, but it also means he takes a bit to stop when you let go of the stick, which can lead to some frustrating moments. Guiding Trico can also be frustrating at times, but I feel this is a little intentional. He's almost like a real animal. Like a dog, you've got to repeat your commands a few times before he realizes what you're saying, then try his best to do it. This can be pretty frustrating when he won't face the direction you want him to though. But again, it makes him feel like a genuine animal and it's really incredible. The puzzle design in this game is terrific. The way you climb around the levels and use Trico in specific ways is really well done. There was only 2 instances I was really stumped on a puzzle and had to look up a guide. Gameplay in general is really well done, if a little frustrating at times, but it was never really a huge issue for me. The real draw to this game is the bond between Trico and the boy you play as. They're both working together to escape this place, and over the course of the game, you see them both grow closer, as well as feel yourself connected to them. There were many heartfelt moments and many heart-wrenching moments, and it's all really well done. The best part about this is most of the connection is formed purely through gameplay. There is a handful of cutscenes in the game, but most of them are expositional, or happening at the very end of the game. None of them are used to build up their relationship. That is done purely through gameplay, which is great because that allows you, the player, to really connect with them through your own actions, instead of just watching it happen in a cutscene. To me, Trico feels so much like a real animal that I genuinely feel like I formed a connection with him, to the point where it's a day after I beat the game at the time of writing this, which was months ago, and I really miss him. All I want to do is play the game again right from the beginning just so I can spend more time with Trico. He really does act just like a real dog, and I felt myself getting attached to him just like I would with a real one. And again, this connection was all formed purely through gameplay. Through my own actions, I executed with the controller. My partner at the time and I were playing this game together, and the whole time we were talking to Trico, especially when he wasn't listening to us, and it all felt so genuine. This is a really special game, and while the AI and camera controls can be a bit finicky at times, it doesn't detract from what this game gets right. So The Last Guardian, wow. I really love this game. I really want to go back and replay it. But man, what do I rank it? So, you know, I think I'm gonna have to give it the S. This was a fucking fantastic game. Yeah. This was really, really, really good. I highly recommend this game. I don't think it's for everyone though. I can definitely see a lot of people getting frustrated with it because it can feel kind of janky, but I feel that kind of adds to it. But yeah, this was a really, really awesome game. Next game is Enter the Gungeon. This was another one that came with like The Witness, a bunch of free games from Sony, and I don't even know if you can finish this game because it's a roguelike. But like I played it for maybe like 10 to 12 hours and I don't know, I had fun. I obviously didn't finish it, but yeah, I had fun. It got really repetitive though, and I kind of just, yeah, I dropped it after a while. But yeah, Enter the Gungeon, that was pretty fun. I imagine it would be a lot more fun with multiple people. I mean, I've played it in the past, like years ago with a mate, and that was a lot of fun. So, I don't know, it's a good game. Okay, next is El Shaddai. This game is like really weird, so I'm just gonna get into my notes. This game is what I like to call Christian anime Devil May Cry. It's a game based on some religious texts that I know nothing about, so this game's entire story was incomprehensible to me. So I ultimately didn't care for any of the events that happened, and it bored me to tears. Yeah, the story side, I don't really know anything. No fucking idea what was happening in this game. But, you know, it's here for the gameplay, so. The combat in this game is pretty decent. It's pretty fast paced and it flows really well, with plenty of on-the-fly decisions which can give you the upper hand. The problem is, after the third level, the combat never changes. Once the mechanics are established, the game never throws anything new at you or challenges you in a different way. The only thing this game does is make the enemies take and deal more damage or throw more of them at you. This left me feeling super burnt out and I did not enjoy most of my time playing. The combat is broken up by long sections of walking with occasional platforming that is pretty weak. The saving grace for me is the absolutely fantastic art style. I think this alone was worth the boredom I experienced in this game, but only just. Every level is a work of art itself. I've never played a game that looks anything like this. The music is also pretty good and adds to the overall aesthetic. Overall though, there wasn't a lot I enjoyed about this game. It started out pretty good, but it got repetitive way too fast. And I was just wishing for it to be over for most of the playthrough. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a well done game, it's polished, and it looks fucking fantastic, but like, man, yeah, I was not having a good time with this one. Honestly, like in between C and D for me, like, there's nothing super wrong with it, it's just really repetitive, and yeah, no, it's a well-made game, and it looks fucking fantastic. I think for the visuals alone, it deserves to be in C. Okay, next up we have De Blob. So this was a Wii game that got ported to modern consoles more recently. I played this on PS4. And yeah, so it's a platformer about like painting, pretty much. Yeah, I'll just get into my notes. This game's great. The whole concept of this game is so awesome. You're overthrowing a fascist dictatorship predicated on sucking the color and life from the world and turning everyone into mindless drones, forcing them into desk jobs and other pointless real-life jobs. This scene in particular stands out. You fight back against them by throwing a color revolution, fighting fascism with creativity. You go around painting the world and restoring life in the city. Every level starts drab as fuck, and by the end there's color everywhere and everyone's having a fucking party, just as they were before they were invaded. The gameplay is fairly simplistic, but it's one of those games that is so chill that you just lose yourself in it for a while. You roll around painting everything, fulfilling requirements on what color to paint certain things, or killing a certain amount of inkies, the bad guys. And what really makes this game is the soundtrack. Every song is a fucking bop, and is probably the best use of a dynamic soundtrack I've ever heard, even better than Doom 2016. When you start the level and everything is grey and depressing, the music is quiet and subdued, and the further you get in the level, the more it ramps up in intensity. There's also small musical stings that play every time you paint something, and the instruments change depending on what color you use. And the music itself is so jazzy and chill, it's just the best thing ever. My only complaints I have for this game is it's pretty clear this is a Wii game, as there's certain points where you just have to mash the X button instead of waggle the Wii remote, and the camera can be a bit frustrating with not being able to move it up or down. The game can also get a bit samey towards the end, and the levels can be pretty damn long, especially if you're a completionist like me. Overall, I really love this game, and I cannot wait to play the sequel, which I hear is way better than this one. So yeah, fucking De Blob, I don't know if I want to put it in S or not. It's that fucking good. I had so much fun playing this. You know what, fuck it, I'm gonna put it in S. That's a fucking great game. I don't think it's better than Last Guardian. Because that's like a really special game. It does so many things right. But fuck, this is like some of the most fun I've had in such a long time. So good. Okay, next we have Dreams. I haven't put a lot of time into this. So basically what I've done is I've played the game that I think comes with it, that was made in Dreams. It's about like a musician, and it's like a 2 to 3 hour experience, and it was really cool. I've played some of the other Media Molecule made games, and I've also played some of the really cool games made by the community. And I started learning how to use the tools, but shit got kind of fucked in my life, so I kind of just dropped it for a while. But yeah, Dreams is really cool. I definitely recommend it, but I obviously didn't finish it. Now, you're probably wondering why Sly 2 and Sly 3 are here, because I've played them before. Then again, you might not be wondering that, because you don't know what I've played. I ended up replaying them this year for the first time, and when I first played these games, I was like 14, so what's that, like 6 years ago? And I don't remember much about them at all. So I wanted to replay them, and I don't know if I want to rank them, because I didn't like them that much. At all. I seriously, I do not get the appeal of Sly 2. I seriously don't get why Sly 2 is the fan favorite. Okay, I'll do this in order. I'll get back to Sly 3 later. Okay, without going too in depth about my thoughts, because I want to replay these games again, because I feel like I'm just missing something. But honestly, like, I'd put Sly 2 just a C. Like, it's better than these two. I had more fun, but like, there's just so much bringing this down, man. Yeah, I don't know. I'll go more in depth about Sly 2 at some other point, but not right now. So Quake, this got released on PS4 earlier this year, and I played a bit of it on stream. I don't think I finished it. I think I got through the first 3 chapters and stopped playing during chapter 4, which is the last one. But if I had to rank it, like probably just a, I don't know, like a B. Like it was fun as fuck. Yeah, it was good. Okay, Crash 4. No. This was on my tier list last year. I started it in 2020 when it came out, and it was really hard and frustrating, and I really wasn't in the mood to get my ass kicked at the time, so I just dropped it. I came back to it this year, and it turns out I didn't write any notes for it for some reason, and I don't have anything to say other than this is a fantastic game. It's definitely one of the best Crash games ever made. Yeah, I definitely put it in A. It was a really fun game. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll talk more in depth about it at some other point. Really good. Okay, Sly 3. I'm just gonna chuck it there. I liked it more than Sly 2, like a lot more. The story was a lot more fun, and I felt like it was more interesting, and the gameplay like wasn't nearly as frustrating as Sly 2 was. Yeah, I don't know. Sly's a weird series. I was gonna play the 4th one, but I didn't get around to it. Okay, Tearaway. I do have notes for this one. So, Tearaway is a PS Vita game made by the same people who made Little Big Planet, and I really love those games. So yeah, like jumping into this, I was already like really like, okay, this is going to be a great game, because the whole thing with Media Molecule is they're all about creativity. They made Dreams, which is literally just create, and I love that about them. So I knew Tearaway was going to be really cool as well. So let's just get into my notes. This is the first actual PS Vita game I beat after owning it for over a year, which is kind of funny. The art style is so creative and fun, I really love it. The platforming is fun as hell, they use the Vita in such unique and fun ways and no function went unused. The world is just amazing and felt so alive and full of personality, I just want to be there. The gameplay never gets old or boring, it's always a lot of fun. I think Media Molecule is one of my favorite developers. All their games are so damn creative and they always try to emotionally empower the player through creativity. And sure, it can be pretty cheesy, but it never feels insincere. Tearaway does this a lot less than Little Big Planet and Dreams because this game doesn't have any creator mechanics, but the way the story is told makes up for that. Plus you can unlock papercraft items from the world, which you can download and make in real life, which is awesome and something I really want to do. I just love the heart to this game. The ending was awesome too, and really drove everything home. Really awesome 3D platformer. If you have a Vita, this is a must play. Yeah, Tearaway, I think it's another one of those special games, you know, like, I don't even know what I mean by special games. It's one of those games where it's like, it leaves an impact. Like, something like The Darkness 2 here, like that was a really well-made game, but I don't think it's a special game like Tearaway or The Last Guardian. So Tearaway is definitely top of A, I think. Damn, De Blob over Tearaway. Oh, I'm not sure anymore. Ooh. This is tough. Okay, I think Tearaway is a better game. I think I had more fun with De Blob though. De Blob is such a vibe, man. I love it so much. The final two games here, I literally played within the past few days. Tearaway, I finished... When did I finish Tearaway? I finished Tearaway on the 21st of October. And for the next, like, 2 months, I didn't play anything because I was busy with Jackmod stuff. So, yeah. So the next game is Sackboy: A Big Adventure. I actually got this for Christmas and I just zoomed through it in a couple of days. Alright, so yeah, let's just get into my notes. So... the potential for a 3D Little Big Planet had me pretty excited to play this. However, I think this is the most mediocre platformer I've ever played. The first few hours had me so utterly bored that I spent the rest of the game listening to YouTube videos. Thankfully, the game does introduce some cool new mechanics like the grapple and the hover boots. I think the overall gameplay is totally fine, the level design isn't anything spectacular and the boss fights were never very exciting, but it was a good game to turn your brain off and play. Towards the end, the mechanics started ramping up in difficulty, which I did appreciate. I imagine it would be a lot more fun playing with a friend though. The levels I really did enjoy were the time trial ones, similar to the Crash games, except instead of replaying already completed levels under a time limit, there's this separate short obstacle course to beat. I had fun attempting these over and over trying to get gold and winning just by milliseconds. Something that really baffled me was the inclusion of licensed songs in some of the levels. When Uptown Funk started playing, it kinda shocked me. They're not even implemented that well either. It tries to have scripted sequences that line up with the beat of the song, but because this is a 3D platformer, you're able to just run around and take your time, so the song essentially waits for you to progress before continuing. Rayman Legends did this pretty well because it's a 2D game, and it made sure every action lined up with the beat. But this game still does it way weirder because it straight up just uses the actual songs. Rayman had their own instrumental arrangements, which was cool. Anyway, rant aside, because that was just really fucking weird. The story was super weak, but I didn't really expect much else. It's a super kid-oriented story of just beat the bad guy, which is fine, but it was just super boring, with a super boring villain. I don't remember the story of the Little Big Planet games super well, but I at least remember them being fun. It's even weirder that this game is trying to be more cinematic and stuff, but nothing really lands for me. The most baffling thing they did was give Sackboy a voice, kinda. He makes noises and grunts and stuff, but it sounds like a really young kid, and it's just really weird. It is very clear that this game is aimed at younger kids, so I can't give this game too much crap, but it feels really aimed at kids. From the super easy difficulty for most of it, the super simple story, the addition of pop songs that don't really add anything to the gameplay. There's nothing wrong with any of that inherently, but I do wish a new Little Big Planet adjacent game would have the same appeal as the older ones. As such, I don't really have any desire to play through the bonus levels unlocked after beating it. So yeah, Sackboy. It was okay. It was fine. I'd probably just put it there. I had more fun than these two, because it's a platformer, and I have more fun with platformers. Yeah, I was so excited when this game was announced, because it's like, oh my god, they're doing something with Little Big Planet, and it's going to be a 3D platformer, this looks like so much fun. But man, it was just really mediocre, and it was such a shame. But I do imagine it would be more fun with friends though, so maybe I'll give it another shot with like a sibling or a cousin or something. I don't know. Alright, so the last game on this list, I literally beat yesterday. So this is a short, free game on Steam called Price. It's like a point-and-click puzzle horror game with like an anime style. I don't know why, but it was on my Steam wishlist for like years, and I don't even remember putting it there, and I saw that it was free, so I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll give it a shot. Yeah, this took me like an hour to beat, and yeah, it was good. Nothing really else to it. I don't think it's really fair to rank it here, because these are all like full... I guess I did it anyway. Whoops. Okay, I guess I'm putting it there. But yeah, it was fine. If you've got nothing else to do, and you've got like an hour to spare, give it a shot. It was interesting. Some of the puzzles were kind of vague, though, so I definitely sat there just clicking around for a while. But yeah, it was fun. Alright, well, I guess that's it. Yeah, I didn't play a whole lot of games this year, which is a shame. Definitely a lot less than the last one I did. But this year, I am wanting to rectify that greatly. So the next time I do this, I might have like way more games to rank. I might not even rank them, I might just talk about them. I don't know how this video is going to turn out next year. But yeah, play The Blob. It's really good. You should play The Blob. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Oh, and thank you to my Patreon supporters. They've been really helping me out these last few months. If you would like to support the channel and get access to some exclusive cool stuff, you can go down the description, support me, all that cool stuff. I've revamped it so it's a lot more neat and tidy. I wasn't really happy with my Patreon all of last year, but now I'm really happy with the incentive structures now. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone, and I guess I'll catch you next time. Bye.